And if you're listening to this recording, I appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your time to listen. I have a couple of major announcements for the firm, which is pretty exciting. We've been at this 11 years now, and this is some major step-ups we've been talking about for a long time, and they're finally going to be announced tonight. As with anything financial, though, you have to see the boring stuff. So if everybody can read that real quick, or pause if you're listening on replay, you can see all about that. Basically, your disclosure says these are my projections and mine alone. Okay, we have 2 happy hours, one you're at, but we also have one next Monday. Bitwise is coming out. If you're familiar with Bitcoin, they're who we use for our custodian. If you're a client with us, you have BITD in your portfolio, and they're the ones that have your Bitcoin in their wallets. So it is your Bitcoin, but they're the ones that hold on to it from there. So they're going to come out, they're going to answer questions about Bitcoin, any other crypto questions you have. They're the folks that have always treated us right. Plus, they always have cool swag. They have the coolest hats around. Sometimes they bring some golf things, so nice to have them sponsor us. Okay, the next slide. This is our journey, if you will. So some minor stuff up front. We started again 11 years ago at 400,000 assets under management with our first client, Russ and Kelly. Thank you. Got us started off, and just around 116 today. So working hard. It was just me for a long time, then we built out the crew there for a while, and we're up to 9 of us now. Some other announcements we have, and you will see these as you're walking around or later. This room is for rent, so we've got all the information you need on here. We're thinking kind of like, birthday parties for adults, not kids, or whatever. You kind of, holds 25 to 30 people pretty comfortably. Comes with a bartender and booze, so that's always a carrot there. But if you want to rent this room out, we have that information now available. We also have another handout. We have the Austin advisors have their own handouts, and Corey was distributing these earlier around the neighborhood, Mayfield Ranch right there. So we're kind of making friends with our neighbors. So it's another initiative we have to continue to build. If you look online at ankerstarwealth.com/events, that's your one-stop shop for all of the events that we have, both happy hours and classes. We've been a little bit happy hour heavy initially because we haven't gotten a lot of response from our classes, but we are hoping that when we run like some retirement income classes, Social Security Act classes, that we're going to get some response there. Again, those will be held out there in the classroom, and then after the classroom, we'll have a social hour in here. So we're very excited about starting to do those. And if you've heard our Ankerstar Wealth morning show, which kind of goes into an Ankerstar Wealth afternoon show, but we put out a YouTube video every day. Corey was on it by himself today. We have over 1,000 episodes. So we've been at this a long time, and we're getting better at it every day. So Corey, thanks for your time for that. Okay, before we can talk about where we're going, we kind of have to talk about where we've been. Again, our vision, maximizing life by maximizing wealth. That's a little bit touchy-feely, but really that is the purpose. It's your money. We're trying to get you to meet your objectives, whatever those objectives may be. That could be a yacht, or it could not be a yacht, right? So it's really you trying to lead your life with the money you've got, and that's what we try to do. The hard portion of that message is rapid response to client concerns. A lot of face-to-face time. If you ask us a question at any point in time, we like to answer within 24 hours. So really responsive to what you have on your mind, because your financial needs don't follow a quarterly meeting schedule that many of the other folks follow out there. It is service-oriented. When you kind of look around the room, we have 3 former teachers and 3 former military. So folks have come from a service background to kind of get it. That wasn't intentional. That just kind of happened during the hiring process, but I'm proud of that. And then for our investment process, we're a little bit different. If you talk to a major investment firm, they're going to start with your age and risk tolerance, and we do that too. But then they'll put you into an allocation that's usually determined by somebody that they've never met back at the headquarters, like at Edward Jones. Send it off in the mail, and you get your portfolio back, and then they start allocating you that way. We personally design the portfolios, so we have our in-house models that we use, and then we discuss with you of exactly how you're invested, and see if you have any questions. Hey, if your hand's off, that's okay too. But if you have questions, we'd like to get those answered for you. But there's a lot of cool things that are going on out there. And with emerging trends, you can see new money, Bitcoin. Obviously, we're believers. Be happy to answer any questions afterwards about that. AI is a thing. Any AI users out there?
Whether you want to be or not.
Well, it's such a thing that it's going to change society, right? Especially when AI remembers your prompts back and forth and you kind of become your buddy, right? Who understands you better than anybody. So we'll see. Humanoids, it's kind of weird to think, but I do think there's a day when you will have your phone and you need your car washed. You're going to, like the Uber app, right? You'll summon a humanoid that'll come in from somewhere you don't care, wash your car, and then leave, go somewhere you don't care, and your car's washed and it costs you $4 or some fraction of Bitcoin, because they're probably taking electronic currencies. And then lastly, quantum computing is another thing that we're trying to look heavily into the future, get in front of it, you know, way back before, we're way early before it's a full thing, to be able to make as much money as we can off of that. But I will say that first rule of the jungle, don't get eaten. A lot of folks don't realize how brutal the markets are. It is the ultimate bastion of survival of the fittest. People just doing whatever they can to hose somebody else over to make money for them and cost somebody else. And I would say like 50% of the money that's in the market is sound asleep. We are not asleep. We're paying attention every day to do our best for you. Okay, first announcement. I put that leadership bullet up there up top just because for those who've known me for a while, Frank is the, here in green, has known me since I was 24. So a long time before I ever went to pilot training and all that stuff. And one thing, if I were ever to ask somebody to judge me on something, it's not how much money I've made or acquired or made for them or whatever. The one thing I want to be judged on is, did I do what I said I was going to do? So when I started this company, I did want to grow it, and I wanted to expand out, and I wanted a building, and eventually I wanted to get you know, enough expertise and enough credentials to be able to move up market to the family office market. And that's something I've been talking about. It's in our brochure that James put together with 18 months ago.
Probably somewhere around there.
Saying that yeah, it was coming early 2025. I can't claim early, but it got here in 2025. But that's what we're announcing today, is that we're going into the family office light model. If you're familiar with family offices, it includes things like walking dogs, paying staff, driving people's kids to school. That's not us. We're not trying to play at that level. We're playing at the, if you think kind of 5 million and above, kind of household, where we're doing investments and financial planning like we always do, but also looping in the CPA. Michael lives right here. And in our state expertise, we have a couple folks that help us out right now. Bring that in-house under a one-stop shop kind of mentality. So somebody who is really busy, whether that's spending their money or earning more money, doesn't have time to deal with all of that. So that's what we're bringing in-house. It will need till 1st of July to kind of stand that up, and then we will release more on that. But very excited to finally be able to offer that. And when you think of this facility, why is it so nice? Well, it's because I knew I was going towards that. So I could have a country club style speakeasy, you know, with Allison as a bartender, to be able to bring folks in and kind of really assure them that this is where your biggest life decisions are made, is within these 4 walls. We called it the end game lounge, so whether it's a personal end game or a business end game, this is where we're going to take care of you. Okay, the second announcement we have is a little bit something I didn't see coming because I didn't know it existed. But have you ever heard of the Pelosi tracker? Or the Ember Strangler? Sure. Things like that. A little bit gimmicky, but I looked into them, and because at first I heard of them, it was Autopilot is their name, and I'm like, what's cool? I used to be a pilot, so Autopilot. It's like, I'll listen to this guy. So it was the, hey, let's see what they have, and they have these trackers. And it's where if you follow the politicians, it's like they make $150,000 a year, which is a good wage. But they also, when they're in office for like 6 years, they come out and they're worth like $15 million. It's like, okay, yeah. There are rules where they have to put their assets into a blind trust, and then they're not supposed to talk to the trustee, but it seems like these trustees are really, really, really good at picking investments. And as a politician or anybody that swings a big bat, if you will, you have to file a 13F within 30 days of making the transition. Well, in this case, they usually file within 3 or 4 days just to get it off their plate, but that's public information. So these guys take that information and roll it right into the model and make adjustments based off of what the politicians are doing. So that's one side of it. So we'll have access to that if that's something that interests you. Talk to your advisor. It goes right in your Schwab account and they make the trades automatically. So really it's kind of a fire forget mentality. The other side of that is, since we've gone pretty heavy into Bitcoin, Mike spent a lot of time earlier this year coming up with a comprehensive Bitcoin strategy. So we won't debate whether Bitcoin is a thing or not, but assuming it's a thing, going forward to where everybody, regardless of risk level, has some form of Bitcoin in their portfolio. So we released that in March, and then in April, right before I went to the leadership conference out in Colorado Springs, I came up with an advanced Bitcoin strategy, and it follows this kind of path of there's the comprehensive for those that are like, okay, yeah, I want that in my portfolio to some extent. Yeah, maybe a lot, maybe a little. Just want some in there. Advanced is more of the if you want to go all in with one of your accounts, not your whole net worth. It's not get crazy. Let's say you have a custodial account for one of your kids, and it's got 5,000 in it. You might as well put it into we call one of the Bitcoin only strategies. If you buy the story, that it's got the most upside, and then let it ride. Right. So it's given folks who have an appetite for risk an option, and that's the alpha portfolio. I'll be personally managing that. I will also be personally managing the income-only portfolio, which is really designed for somebody that's got a lot of Bitcoin, whether they're 25 or 55, but they've got a lot of Bitcoin, they don't work anymore, but they need cash. So it's taking some of that Bitcoin, putting it into our model, and then using Bitcoin to generate cash. So those are the two, they're kind of extremes that I'm working on. Jaden's working on the all-inclusive, he's the portfolio manager for that one, and that. It's a total Bitcoin portfolio, but it's designed to continue to grow over time. Bitcoin's been ripping along at that 50 to 60% per year. Will that last forever? Probably not. It's still probably going to be 25 to 30 a year, at least that's my opinion. And then also kicking off some cash along the way. And then Mike runs the all-weather portfolio, which is if you like Bitcoin, but you don't want big swings in your portfolio. You're like, I don't want to see it move up and down. So let's just have it hedged. So you see that shield there to kind of reduce the downside. So those are start going live this week on autopilot. So we expect there will be some interest out there for that, and that folks will be able to sign on that we've never heard of before, sign into these portfolios. We'll generate some extra revenue for our firm that way. And in closing, we do have shares of Ankerstar Wealth. It's an LLC. We do have membership shares. So if you'd like an equity stake in Ankerstar Wealth, if you like what you hear, if you believe our mission, and you think we're good at what we do, consider that. That's the share price there. It goes up and down, mostly up, but sometimes down. Every month, you can kind of see the last 13 months there. Those were assets under management. And then we have a formula that spits out the stock price. So it's totally agnostic, it's all math as to what the stock price is. So if you're interested in something like that, please ask me. And then if you are a shareholder, the way to make money is, of course, shares going up. That is the primary way. And then also distributions will start next year. So don't get excited about the distributions, but our profits will be distributed out to a certain extent once a year after that. And eventually we'll either IPO or get bought. I'd imagine getting bought, but that's 10 years down the road, but that's kind of a big payday for an equity type investment. So if you're interested in that, let me know. And the good part about the investment is if you're interested, not only do you own an exact fraction of Ankerstar Wealth, which is the renter of this place, you actually own that exact fraction of this building. And as some like to say, they own like one of the light switches. But you do at least own a portion of the building, so if the building ever, eventually it'll sell, right? When who knows what happens down the road, but that's another way where you will get make some money. So with that, I will stop for questions. I meant to tell the folks if they had questions online to ask them. Did we get anybody ask any questions through the chat?
We have one, and we're wondering that if for the models available now on autopilot, is there a way for us to see what is available to us for investing?
Okay, yeah, so the question is, if you're in autopilot, you can go to autopilot, just Google it right now, and you'll click on the link. It is an app, so you'll see the ad, it'll say download the app, and then it's app-based. You can surf through all of the models that are available. And again, you won't see ours today, but you should be able to see those later this week. All right, any questions from in here? All right. We'll conclude the show there and bring the live stream down. Thanks again, everybody, for listening, and see you guys next time. All right. Time to eat.
There we go.